Welcome back to the Energy Tips for Heart Warriors and Patreons for week number 6. That is 2nd till 8th of February 2020. Let's talk about the whispers of destiny and how we are all experiencing this calibration that is happening right now. What do I mean with this? There is this like really strong impulse coming in right now to be more steadfast, to claim our stake, to live our life, to breathe our life. Why is this so strong right now? Because at the same time, of course, we're experiencing all kinds of endings, breakups, all of the things that we believed in, that we thought we could feel secure about, falling away. And that's a good thing, guys. That means that you are hearing, that you are listening to the call to change, the call to evolve, the call to mature. But it brings in a lot of internal issues. First of all, of course, the emotional processing of truth. That is the hardest part for most of us. But also physically, right now there's a lot of physical friction, a lot of physical resistance towards change. You can feel this in your bones. You can feel this in every single cell of your body. And that's what this recalibration is about, right? Our body is responding to this change, this new reality that is coming in. And that can, of course, also affect our emotions again. And then comes all this thinking about it and the uncertainty that goes with it. So the biggest task here in this next week will all be about going within and, recognizing where these fragmentations that are in us, yes, where they are pulling us back into the past, where they are basically, preventing us from moving forward. So the main energy of this next week is all about activation. It's a self-activation and the reclaiming. It's, the forward momentum that we need to now really feel within. It's not enough to just plan it or to have a strategy or, to have a goal. This is not enough. This is us really being involved here with our heart mind and letting go of the hive mind, okay? The hive mind, the collective programming that is telling us that, so many things are not going to be ever the same, and we're losing everything, and everything, people are going to die, and World War III is going to break out, and money is the money system is going to collapse, and what else? These are all things that create stress and fear in us, that consequentially lead us to making mistakes. That the very fear that we have of making mistakes is what is happening if we cannot really stand in our own present moment awareness. And in the truth talk, I just talked about the 12 most common life force energy wasters. Okay, this is a really cool piece, of truth training and authenticity training, where you can see, all the things that you do, that I do, that we all do, all right, to literally survive life, and donating our life force to something that is not us, something that is not our destiny, something that is not our purpose. And so with this activation here in this next week also comes the call for decision making, for, committing yourself to your destiny, to devoting and dedicating your energy only to what strengthens you, what moves you forward, what matures you, what leads to expansion, what leads to, more life experience, what leads to, exploration, courage, and excitement about life. It's very, very difficult right now, guys. So please understand that these times, are challenging for a reason. the changes that are coming in here this week and next week, guys, I'll be honest with you, they will be huge. Okay, this is something that we might not quite yet know how this is playing out, but these next 2 weeks we will see it. But it will lead to a maturing, and it will lead to us awakening to our spiritual instincts, all right, where we recognize that no matter what happens on the outside, whether it's snowing or whether it's hot, whether there is a fire or whether there is an earthquake, whether there's a political system that falls apart and people going on a rant, or whether our beliefs are being shattered and we have to come up with our own beliefs. All these things, they will continue to change through our lifetimes, and obviously in these next 2 weeks. So why resist the change? This passivity that I always talk about, and just going with the flow, is just as imbalanced as resisting reality. Okay, one is more on the masculine and one is more on the feminine side, but really to go into this spontaneous healing that is possible right now through recognizing where our center is and recognizing the tools in us that can lead us there to really grow into our destiny. That requires us to stop whatever it is that we have been sort of just, what we have been doing just because we've accepted it as our reality, or we accepted it as our norm, be it as functional or successful or dysfunctional and toxic as it is. In order to heal, we need to feel. And this next week comes in with a lot of internal impulses for this feeling healing. All right, so it's very emotional in that sense, but it also shows us very clearly how we, try to escape the whole thing, or how we go into sort of this extreme opposite of that, which is, fanaticism, or, positionalized views, and going into these constant fights with other people, be it our relationship partners, be it our family, be it our work situation. It doesn't matter what it is. Confliction is what the energies of this next week here will present to our collective. Okay, there will be one conflict after another, accompanied with a lot of deceptions, accompanied with understanding or discovering, that we have been led to believe all these things. And even if it is on the subconscious level, as I've illuminated in the Truth Talk about life force, to allow our creation energy to be hijacked. Okay, so our job here in this week of confliction, as I want to call this, is to redirect our energy to what matters, to redirect our energy to our center, and to claim our space, to claim our being, all right, and to liberate ourselves from thinking that this is what you need to do, whatever it is that is coming in from the outside, or trying to maintain everything the way it is. So these heart warrior moments that I mentioned last week, really what they're turning into now is self-mastery impulses. All right, so you have this is the whisper of your destiny, is the impulse to master your own life, to be the wielder of your own manifestation wand, and to understand that you might not have the answers yet. You might not know how all this is going to play out. But one thing you already know for sure, and that is, if you're continuing the way you have been doing it, you're going to get the same results. So this is the disruptor code here for this next week. You have to recognize that you're going to have to stop what it is that you're investing or donating your life force to. Chakra-wise, the way this will play out, the energy centers that will be most active and most challenged here in this next week will be our second chakra. Again, that is our emotionality, that is our drive, our attractions, the temptations, the seductions, the pleasure seeking in us, but also, just sort of emotionally processing all the stuff that is going on right now. But in conjunction with your heart. So you're also going to feel a strong heart impulse. And this will allow you, on an energetic level, to merge, your lower chakras with your heart, to really see, okay, if I just go by seeking pleasure or avoiding pain, which is basically sort of the characteristic on the hallmark here of our animalistic drive, of our lower self, okay, I'm never ever going to break free from all these outer deceptions and augmented or virtual realities. Okay, so that is one aspect. But at the same time, we also need to bring this, whatever, destiny or calling that we're perceiving into the outside world. We need to bring it into expression. And that is our fifth chakra that also wants to merge with our heart, that also wants to be part of this truth that we are now beginning to feel in us, all right, that needs to be adjusted and recalibrated. The way we talk, the way we move, the way we express our life force. And all this then in conjunction with our seventh chakra, our crown chakra, you're going to feel a lot of input here in your dreams. You're going to feel a lot etheric stuff going on in this next week that is basically plugging you into the divine Wi-Fi and giving you these inklings, okay, these visions or these things that are supposed to be. And the one part here that is counteracting this, the second chakra, the emotions and the seductions and the regrets and the fears and all that, the guilt and all that, that is pulling you out of the divine Wi-Fi into your past. So you've got to understand that, this internal confliction that you have is basically you awakening to your greater reality, to your higher self, but not knowing how to do this, getting confused, getting lost, getting pulled and basically sort of distracted with your own combobulations and getting pulled back into the past. So if your calibration isn't right yet, you're going to feel or see a lot of visions from the past. You're going to feel pulled into things that are long gone by, or maybe seeing deceased people, seized people, or sort of reliving, rehashing, going into this flashback mode where your energy gets redirected into the past instead of into being fully aware of where you're at the present moment and where this is going to go then in its replication. Physically right now, and this is something that maybe some of you who were in the Grace Gaia Sophia Marathon have experienced firsthand, my whole entire body feels like it's being restructured. I'm feeling stiffness all over. I'm feeling, sort of a lot of pressure on my body, somehow coming in from the outside. And of course, this requires, a lot of energy management. So right now, but also if you are suffering from a cold or from the flu, you'll find that a lot of that is the stress of the burden that we carry, not knowing, okay? And the best way to get through this here in this next week, first and foremost, is sleep and water. So those are the easiest ones. We can all do this. But also through going into this sort of sensual support for us. Okay, obviously everything is geared to self-care and self-love, but to really feeling ourselves. Remember, next week is about feeling healing. Okay, so everything that has to do with touch, touching your body, massage, putting body lotion on, wearing the right clothing, but also, oils, etheric oils, to smell things, to reactivate your sensuality, or reactivate the things that really bring you back in touch with, life itself. Fill your life with colors. Take baths. Make yourselves teas or prepare wonderful meals. All right, this is the energy that you will need to disrupt all this inner confliction and to ground yourself in your own being. All right, on a physical level. Now, emotionally, this emotional processing is really difficult to come by, because especially if we have a lot of trauma and so forth, these flashbacks, we cannot really prevent them from happening. They're tied to our neurotransmitters and so forth. So we're gonna have to breathe through this a little bit. All right, you're gonna have to really hold this and understand that you're not going to die from this. Okay, it's the past that gives you all these sensations and emotions. All right, and for you to get to a place of clarity, you're going to have to get through this sort of wave of emotions that is going through you, and listen within. Also whisper within. You whisper to yourself, self-coach your way through your anxiety. Okay, and learn how to release some of that by maybe journaling, or talking to other people. You are not alone in this, guys. We all feel this way right now. So much insecurity. But don't allow this to clamp down your life force. Okay, and especially your love, the love for life, but also the love that you feel towards others. Don't allow yourself to withhold this, because you feel, you have to pull in. This is counterintuitive to go out more, and to open up, because we feel so vulnerable. So understand that this vulnerability can make it harder for you. Okay, just assume that everybody goes through it, and open yourself up. Let go of the past. All right, we're going through these rhythms, these seasons, these time capsules all the time. Okay, right now you're going through a time capsule from last June, the solstice energies. Okay, so what happened in your life towards the end of June 2019? That is what you're revisiting here. Okay, this was a heavy emotional time for most of you. So understand that these time capsules, these rhythms that are there, that this is the way life expresses itself. Okay, and that's nothing you need to be afraid of or to resist. So breathe through this, guys. Mentally, a lot of collective stuff is becoming aware to us right now. If you live in the States, obviously, there was a really heavy week last week, heavy mental week. A lot of argumentation, a lot of positions, a lot of political stuff going on, and all that. I mean, it was a wonderful display. Could show us how we are all controlled by some kind of hive mind. Because really, when you think about some of the things that are being discussed here, sort of in the world's political arena, are non-brainers. Okay, so really, what is missing here in all this confliction and discussion and argumentation is sort of the common sense, the discernment through the heart mind, namely, what is all this about? This is all about us becoming able to live a more peaceful life within ourselves and with others. So who cares about parties or nations? All right, we no longer separated nations. Okay, we no longer separated from ourselves through geographical locations. We are all connected, literally. All right. So the common sense is, to learn how to, give up our individuality without giving up our individuality. All right. This is what we all have to figure out right now as a collective. And so getting caught in our thinkingness and in this constant ruminating and worrying and going back and forth, pros and cons, really is part of this hive mind, guys. All right, so understand that. You need to disrupt this, okay? Socially, in relationships, I told you before that this is a critical time here, so all February is going to be challenging for us in our relationships because it's about authenticity. So we need to really understand that everything that we are experiencing here in conjunction with other people is a challenge for us to become more true with ourselves, to, not just to see truth, but also to live truth, okay, to speak truth, to, act truth, all right, and ultimately also to think truth. And all these things that we are going through here in with our relationships are these challenges that help us to mature, okay, are the things that really help us to form resilience, so that we can recognize that the answer to all this confliction is actually in deeper connection, in more intimacy. Now, if we have the wrong partner where we detect, toxicity or, dysfunctionalities, then obviously that's a whole different problem. All right. So here is where you can simply test the authenticity or the truth level of your relationship, of your love, or of your job, by making a stance for yourself, by saying, no, I'm not doing that. This is, by the way, also the number one test for checking if somebody's a narcissist. Just say no and see what happens. There is a part in you that you may not have discovered yet, but there's a leader in you, okay, that the moment you take charge of your own life force and the moment you take charge of your own truth, people will follow you. They'll do what you bring out. Of course, unless it's toxic, that would be manipulation. And this is where the temptations come in with power and force. But there is a leader in you, okay, that does not just follow, all the impulses that come in from the outside, like being a follower. This leader in you can actually also bring it forward. And that's basically the overall or the deeper aspect of all these relationship problems that we have. Stop waiting for things. Stop, wondering how the other is going to feel about this, or what she or he thinks about this. Do it. Say, this is what I want. This is how I want it. Okay? And see what happens. Spiritually, we all need to go deeper now, guys. It's not enough to just wake up. We have to get up too. And here, this was the subject of the Grace Gaia Sophia Marathon, how this feels inside. And this feeling healing that I talked about is a very spiritual issue, really. It goes through generations, it makes us having to revisit our family karma and some of our karmic aspects. But, the idea of meditating it away or spiritually bypassing, those deeper aspects that still dominate our lives, okay, is not what the spirit, this modern or this new spirituality or spiritual awakening is about. Plant medicines and going to the next gig and purging and clearing everything out, or hiring other people who clear you out and then not changing anything, guys, that is not spiritual. Going deeper means taking full spiritual inventory, just like how you would do with your body or your emotions or your thoughts or your relationships, for that matter. Take a spiritual inventory. Where are you in your spiritual maturing process? Are you still seeing life happening to you? Or, in the slightly more advanced version, you making life happen? Or are you beginning to realize that life is happening through you, through how you express your life force, how you manage your life force, and your choices to dedicate or commit your life force to? So here's where the question of devotion comes in. What are we devoting our energy to? And energetically, I've already mentioned this here, we need to really tune into some of the fundamentals of energy work, how to ground ourselves, how to center ourselves, how to self-clear. Feeling healing is about self-clearing, releasing, finding balance and finding the center from throughout. You can do all this. All right, this is a phenomenal opportunity for self-mastery because we get all these tests and challenges this week. So understand that from an energetic point of view, what you are actually being presented with here is an enormous, phenomenal opportunity to actively reclaim your true self, be it through reflecting on where you waste your life force, be it through reflecting on where you waste your love on relationships or work or projects or whatever that have no true meaning for you, that bring no fulfillment, or be it in recognizing, how your inner confliction is nothing, really than trying to resist life, okay? So energetically, we are in a phase right now here that asks us to become fully aware of our energy management. And this is how I want you to see all these challenges that are coming in here in this next week. Witness where your energy goes. And then take an inventory of that, if that is truly what you want to bring out here. Is this really what you want? Do you want to be this grumpy person, or do you want to be angry all the time, or do you want to feel like a victim all the time, or do you want to feel anxious all the time? Do you want to feel depressed all the time? Is this how you are expressing your life force here, how you want to express your life force? Probably not. Go within, guys. Go deeper. Listen to your destiny whispering to you. And my tip for you is whisper back. Say, I hear you. This is the best way to tune into your future self and actually receive more clear inner guidance. Thank you, everyone, for supporting transCODES. Thank you, everyone, for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.